Hey everyone, let's talk about the books that I read in June. So this month was definitely a better reading month because I read 5 books, and in May I only read 1 book, which was a very good book, and I don't know if I ever talked about it, so I'll just kind of include that in here as well, just in case anyone wants to know. I definitely read some really good books. Also, I didn't mean to make it sound like 1 book is not a lot of books. If you read 1 book a month, that's great. As long as you're reading, I feel like it's all good, so don't think that you have to read a ton of books or anything or feel pressure about it. 1 good book is better than 6 awful books, or however many books that you read. Read however much you want. I didn't want to make it sound like that, but I am really happy because I definitely read some really good books. There's only 1 book that I read that was under 4 stars, so I really had a good reading month, and I'm excited to share everything that I read this month, so let's get right into it. Okay, the first book that I read was actually something that I was supposed to read in May, but I ended up finishing it on like June 1st, and this was our book club book for last month, which is Curse of the Wolf King by Tassanja Odette. This is the first book in the Entangled with Fae series. So like I said, this was our book club book pick last month, which if you guys want to join the book club, the link will be in the description box below. It was a really good book, and I think everyone enjoyed it a lot. This is actually a fairy tale retelling of Beauty and the Beast. Now, I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast in a really long time, so I can't come out and say that it was super on point with the actual story or anything like that because I don't really know. But I know that a couple of people in the book club said that it was very similar and they really liked it. So this is kind of like a Fae version retelling of Beauty and the Beast. Our main character, Gemma, just wants to kind of leave her past behind and get out of where she lives with her dad. She has a bad relationship with her dad, and she's judged by pretty much everyone in her town. So what she wants so badly is freedom, and in her town, no women have jobs really. Usually they have a husband, and that's kind of all the women are made for, but that is not the life she wants. So she decides to kind of make a different path for herself, and she looks every single day in the newspaper for job opportunities, and then she finally finds one, and it's all sketchy, but she still decides to go. When she goes to this job opportunity, she ends up being captured by the Fae King, which she didn't even know kind of lived right by her or anything, and then a whole entire situation ends up happening, but they kind of spark a little bargain, and so she gets something out of it, and so does he, because his situation is really complicated too, and there's a whole curse. If you like fantasy books or you like Fae, anything like that, you would definitely probably like this book, so I would recommend it. I gave this a 3.5 stars, and I'm pretty sure everyone in our book club pretty much really liked it. I thought it was really cute and funny, and I liked the dynamic of the two, but I did feel like it was a little bit drawn out, and that's why I didn't give it a 5 stars, and I just gave it a 3.5. Next up, I read The Perfect Couple by Ellen Hildebrand. I am a huge Ellen Hildebrand fan, so I was really excited. This is one of the books of hers that I haven't read yet, and also I'm pretty sure that this book is becoming a TV show or a series, so I wanted to read it as soon as possible. Needless to say, I was very excited to read this. I absolutely love Ellen Hildebrand. She's one of my favorite authors, especially in the summer, because she writes so many good beach reads based on the island of Nantucket, which is so interesting, and I want to go there so bad. And a lot of Ellen Hildebrand's books, they go on multiple different stories and plots. It all revolves around the Otis Winbury wedding, which is on Nantucket, and it's all planned out, and it's going to be so beautiful, and they put so much money into it. The mother of the groom and the father of the groom are super rich, and then the bride is kind of comes from an area that's not super rich, and she doesn't know all this wealth or anything. And then just hours before the wedding, a body is discovered, and it's somebody who's from the wedding party, so pretty much everyone becomes a suspect, and they have to figure out who did it. Kind of like a murder mystery, but it's not really gory at all. Also, there's a lot of really good imagery and scenery just because it's Ellen Hildebrand. She describes everything so good on the island of Nantucket. If you're kind of looking for more of a cozy mystery, beachy mystery type, it's really good, and there's so much drama between all of the couples that are in the book. You'll fly through this if that's the kind of thing that you're into. I give this book a 4 stars. I'm a huge Ellen Hildebrand fan and would highly recommend it. Okay, so next up on my Kindle, I read our book club pick for June, which is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I'm not a huge Emily Henry fan. I read Beach Read and People Meet on Vacation. Neither of them were my favorite. I didn't dislike them though. I just didn't find them to be very memorable for me, which might be a little controversial because I know so many people absolutely love those books. No hate to anyone recommending one. Obviously, we all have our own opinions, but I had heard so many great things about Happy Place, so I wanted to read it, and we ended up picking it for our book club book of the month. So I was pretty excited to get into it. I decided to read it on my Kindle. All that's out right now is the hardcover copy, which is so cute, and I really like the cover, but it was pretty expensive, like $27 or something, so I decided to just buy it for like $12 or whatever on my Kindle and have it on here. And I read this book within, I want to say, 1 to 2 days. This was a really good beachy romance. So this is about a couple named Harriet and Wynn. Harriet is our main character, and they have this friend group that they're a part of, and they always go to one of their friends' beach house in Maine for the summer, or I don't know if it's every single summer, but they haven't been in a long time, and now it's a very specific reason that they have to be there. There's something kind of monumental happening between their friends that they need to be there for. So none of their friends know that they've broken up, so for the week they kind of just pretend to be together, and they haven't seen each other in a few months, so it kind of brings back some feelings and memories of how they used to be at the beach house when they were both together, and then you find out kind of why they broke up and what happened. I did give it 4 stars. I will probably talk a lot more about it in my book club, so I don't want to say too much here just because we're gonna pretty much go into depth about it in the book club, but I really liked it and I would highly recommend it. Such great beachy vibes, and I really liked it. Next up, I read kind of a children's book, but I think it's more geared towards adults. I don't have the physical copy with me right now, but it was called The Little Prince. I think it's more of a classic kind of book. It was really interesting, and I don't think I've ever read anything like it. I gave it like a 3.5 stars. I liked it. It wasn't my favorite. Sometimes it's hard for me to really dive into stories like that, but I thought it was really good and read it in about an hour. It was only like 87 pages long, and I thought it was really cute, and it had very good messages. I think for an actual kid it might be difficult to read, but it's basically about this little prince. He's from a different planet, and he kind of comes down and talks to this traveler and helps them learn some really big messages. I don't want to go into too much more depth just because it might be kind of a spoiler alert, so I don't want to say too much, but I thought it was a pretty cute book, and I don't know if anyone else has ever read that, but I thought it was an interesting book. And then the last book that I read this month was The Last Mrs Parish by Liv Constantine. My friend lent me this book, and I absolutely loved it. I was so just sucked in by this story. This is a psychological thriller, but don't let that throw you off if you don't really like those kind of books, because I'm not a huge thriller fan because sometimes they're a little scary for me, but I absolutely love this book, and it reminded me of the book that I read in May, which was called Every Last Secret, which I absolutely loved, and I read that on my Kindle on Kindle Unlimited. But this book was just so good. So basically we have our character Amber, and this ends up being split point of view about halfway or more than halfway through the book, but a majority of the point of view is from our main character Amber, and she's come from a poorer kind of background. She's never had a ton of money or been rich, but she is just so obsessed with rich people and has this dream of like, oh my god, I need to have all this money. She gets so jealous about people and wants all of these things that she doesn't have. Amber kind of researches and finds this family, which is called the Parish family. So you have Jackson and Daphne, who are a married couple, and Jackson is the billionaire. He has so much money, so Amber kind of gets the idea that she's gonna go and steal Daphne's husband, and she wants it so bad. She goes so far as to lie about awful things, like for example, the wife Daphne runs a foundation because her sister died of cystic fibrosis. So Amber goes and lies and says that her sister died of the same thing, which is not even true, but she makes up all these really bad, just pathological lies as a way to get in and become friends with the people in the family. And little does she know, not everything is as perfect as it seems, and that's all I'm gonna say. And also, Amber has this crazy background. It's just really insane. There's so many twists and good things to this book. I gave it a 5 stars because, as I said, I was just sucked in by it and read it so quick. I spent one of my entire days reading by the pool just for hours and hours, just finishing this book because I thought it was so good. So I highly recommend this book if you like this kind of book, and if you like reading about like a rich family drama, that type of thing, you would really like this. And if you really like this, you should read Every Last Secret, which is on Kindle Unlimited if you're interested. All you have to do is get the Kindle app, and you can read it for free on your phone even if you don't have a Kindle. Well, actually you have to pay for Kindle Unlimited. I don't even know why I just said that. It's a really good book, and so is this. And let me know if you have any more recommendations for books that are like this, because I absolutely loved it. Those are all of the books that I read in the month of June. I hope you guys all had had a good reading month too. I love you all so much. Let me know if you read any of these, or let me know a book that you're excited to read this month in July. I love you all so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.